Welcome to the pre-flip episode 3. I am joined by, well, my name is Gibbs, but you already knew that, and you already know his name. I'm joined by Jamesbot, and he has a webcam today. It is lovely.
Thank you. We had to have these webcams set up for RLCS. As people may or may not know by now, we have been doing the RLCS broadcasts entirely online.
Yes. So we have looked into a camera. Like, I have looked into my webcam for longer this weekend than in my entire life, I bet. It was a lot of just looking straight at it and nodding when Leaf was talking. And then that's pretty much how it goes. This is the pre-flip. It's brought to you by Prediction Esports. That is 2 E's as well in the show title. The pre-flip is 2 E's. Prediction Esports on Twitch. Follow them. Support the show. Throw a sub to them. Throw your Twitch Prime. Why not? Why not? Support the show. They have a bunch of other esports podcasts as well. They talk about teamfight tactics. They talk about Dota. They talk about Smash. And they talk about just the business of esports. So go check them out if you want. And we also have iTunes and Spotify, which the links will be in the description below when we get to that point on the YouTubes. It'll be on their YouTube. It'll be on my YouTube, Gibbs00 as well. So that covers all our bases, James. Now we got to get into what happened this weekend. So 2 things happened. My voice died and really good Rocket League.
I mean, your voice always dies every weekend. It's pretty much guaranteed at this point.
So it's really
you're ill more than you're not ill.
It's so weird.
Life is.
It's so weird because that one week when my voice completely died on the pre-show, I just woke up like I was feeling fine the night before. I woke up and my voice was just gone, and I was like, "What the hell happened?" And then the same thing happened when I woke up on Monday morning, and I was like, and the first thing I thought of, which pissed me off probably more than anything, is I thought of Jamesbot because I knew that he was going to be mad at me.
Something. I'm always going to say something.
I know, but you were
on water right now. By the way, I'm not getting sick. I just choked on water.
But you were the first person I thought of Monday morning. That is probably, you probably rank in like 1,000 to 2,000 range of who I want to think of first in the morning. And I thought of you first.
Help it, right?
I know. So I was pissed off already on Monday morning. So that didn't help me. But let's talk about the games that you must go back and watch. There's a lot of games to choose from, James. Which game are you going with for a must-see?
Oh, my gosh. There was literally almost infinity games that you could pick from because this week was not only the normal RLCS league play, but it was also the doubleheader.
Yep.
So it was just it was a lot of matches. We did basically week 5 and 6 together.
Yeah, I think it's technically called week 5 and then week of doubleheader because I think next week is week 6. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, well, yeah, it's based on Wikipedia.
Sure.
So, gosh, starting with NA, I guess.
Okay.
There was, I think the most shocking series. If you're a Cloud9 fan,
oh yeah,
you should go and watch the NRG Cloud9 series because that was honestly, it wasn't a close series. It was just shocking.
Yeah, because Cloud9 actually won. Spoilers.
Yeah, the Cloud9, they didn't just win. They beat the crap out of NRG. Yeah. And we've not seen anyone beat the crap out of NRG in a long time. A very long. I can't even remember the last time NRG got swept by anyone. And so Cloud9 sweeping NRG, it was one of those things where you just don't believe what you're seeing. So you should go watch that series.
Yeah. You're getting all pixely for me, so you're going to be a little bit uglier, but that's okay. That series for sure, I think, because we talked about it on the weekend, and you were like, Dig Vitality was awesome to watch, so I thought you were going to choose that one. So go back and watch that one, too. That's a bonus one for you, because that series was really good. The 2 top teams in Europe battling for the #1 spot. And I'll add one more. The Ghost G2 series was a lot of fun to watch. It wasn't perfect Rocket League. It was just really fast Rocket League, so a lot of mistakes came out. But Ghost held strong and took down G2. A very competitive series, and could be for a race for top of NA. Like, sure, Ghost was 3-3, but I think their record kind of was misleading a bit. So now they're in the conversation as well. But definitely go back and watch that series. Very entertaining Rocket League across the day. I felt like the end of North America for the doubleheader, it was great that we got 3 upsets back to back to back because it kind of woke us all up because it was a really long show. Yeah. So that was really fun to see. Plus, it made the playoff race, James, for North America completely wide open now to make playoffs. So we're going to talk about that now. before we get to the other stuff, let's just talk about the North America playoff race and what is going on. So I'm going to bring this up actually full screen here for the people at home. But it got crazy. So North America, we kind of talked about this last week, and my voice is still dying more, is that the top 6 of North America we thought was pretty much locked with Ghost came in there. But then Pittsburgh Knights happened and they kind of didn't look too good versus Rogue. Then Cloud9 also got the win against NRG. And now it's completely wide open. So we look at the standings here. We have 4 teams at 2 wins. Cloud9 is 2-4. Well, we could probably zoom in a little bit too. But Cloud9 is 2-4, while the rest are 2-5. Who do you got here, James, at this point for number 6? Because Ghost very likely in. They have a pretty good lead there. But who do you got? Cloud9, Pittsburgh Knights.
Pretty much
United.
The question is who is going to, or like how is the bottom half of the teams? How are they going to finish? And honestly, I have no idea at this point. I think if I had to pick the team that looks the worst recently, it's E United. Yeah. E United to me looks the worst. But in terms of who's going to finish last, I don't know if Flight is going to be able to bring this back. They're at -11 game differential, 1-6.
Oh, yeah,
it's going to be really tough for Flight really to do anything. I don't think E United is going to move up the ladder at all. I think Rogue is going to have a tough time. So it's pretty much between, for me, the Knights and Cloud9. Who do I have more faith in?
Yeah.
And that's honestly a tough question for me. What we saw from Cloud9 was incredible, but we've also just seen them struggle in so many series this season. But if you're putting me on the spot, I'm going to say Cloud9. I think Cloud9 finishes top 6. This could be the turning point for them. I think a lot of what was holding Cloud9 back was just the mental game. And I think after getting a win against NRG, we're going to see some of their confidence come back. And Squishy he played so well. He played so well in that series versus NRG. He's been playing so well all season long. The question is, can Torment and Gimmick continue to play at the level they played at last week and not keep double committing and having communication errors? And it's I want to believe in Cloud9, and I'll put my faith in them right now just because that's where my heart is as well. So I'm going with Cloud9.
Well, Cloud9, they get to play Pittsburgh Knights week 8. Right now, it's the last match of the day. That will change based on playoff scenarios. But by the way this all looks, it could be the last match of the day because it could mean if Cloud9 beats Pittsburgh Knights, then they're into the playoffs. So that is going to be a huge series. I am with you where it's probably Cloud9 or Pittsburgh Knights. One, their game differentials are both better than everyone else, so that's always going to help. Pittsburgh Knights plays E United as well. I think they will probably win that series. Rogue, their game differential is so bad that they need to win and get help, and obviously Flight, it's almost impossible. They would have to go 6-0 and hope for a lot of things. This one's tough because Cloud9's got one extra game too, right? So they have one extra chance for an upset, and we both took them as upset picks last week. One worked out with NRG, the other one versus Space Station didn't. But they got the Sonics, which I think is a beatable team. I think they've been clutch, but if they don't come in clutch, I think Cloud9 could take that series. They play Ghost, who's been hit or miss. I like Ghost personally, but there is an extra chance there. And then they play Pittsburgh Knights. The thing is,
possible they win out. It's possible they win out.
It's true. It's possible. Pittsburgh Knights, they play E United before they play Cloud9, so they could have a lead going into that. But still, if Cloud9 sweep Pittsburgh Knights, it probably won't matter. Cloud9 would probably get in. This is tough. I think I would go with Pittsburgh Knights. I think they're going to beat Cloud9 just because I think I don't have a lot of faith in Pittsburgh Knights, but Cloud9, it was 1 week, right? One time they showed up versus NRG. Pittsburgh Knights, I think, has been a slightly more solid, but that's not saying a whole lot. They did just lose to Rogue, which that was a really bad loss. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Knights here, but Rogue, I think, has no shot. But like I saw, like I think it was just banter, but like first killer was BM and Reynolds after the loss, and I was like, you probably shouldn't do that just because you're still almost impossible to make playoffs at this point. It didn't look too great, but it was probably because it is Reynolds, and Reynolds always will trash talk, so he's got to throw it back in.
It's been a rough season for Reynolds. I think Reynolds has been humbled a little bit this season. We haven't seen as much chirping from him either, But you're right, and really, Cloud9 and the Knights, those are two teams where I don't even really want to put my faith in them. They've had such a tough season, both of them, that I wish that I could just sit back and watch and see what happens. But you know, we got to take a stance here. So you know, even though it'll be fun to watch this play out, Gibbs. One of us will be right.
Sure. And I think the one thing that we love, both of us, is that these upsets did happen. So now it matters, because we were about to go into week 7 and week 8 completely locked up. Like if Pittsburgh Knights won, they're at 3-4. Cloud9 loses, they're down the bottom. Then it's United and Rogue, and I wouldn't have any faith in either of them catching up. They would have to win out and need help and all that. So this is great. So at least we have a race for a regional championship spot. And then there's a race at the top as well. A lot of 5-1 teams. Energy fell to 5-2. Who do you have faith in, James, to take the number 1 spot? I think I know your answer, but I'm going to put you on the spot there.
Number 1.
Gosh,
this is an interesting question. I think right now, honestly, the best looking team is probably Space Station.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Space Station's the best looking team right now. G2 had a rough week. They got slapped around by Ghost. I mean, the games were pretty close, but Ghost, you know, they played very well against G2. Where meanwhile, we've seen Space Station kind of breeze through pretty much everybody. So, I mean, the only loss that we saw was our first Space Station was to the Sonics.
Yeah.
But every other win has been pretty convincing. So I'm going to go with Space Station.
Yeah, Space Station, their schedule's incredibly easy now. They only have to play G2 left out of the top 6 teams. So they take on Rogue, and I don't think Space Station has to worry about that at all. They take on United. It's the same thing there. Then they get G2. That game could matter for number 1, but at that point, they might be already locked up for top 2 anyway. So Space Station is looking really good. G2, I still have more faith in. Like, I know a lot of people were... like I saw some comments where like Gibbs is now going to gloat that G2 is terrible. Like, I don't think G2 is terrible. Like, I just thought Ghost is a really high quality team as well.
It's going to come down to G2 or Ghost. That's just the way it's going to go.
So I think
G2 Space Station, I mean.
Yeah. So I think G2 has a really good shot. They have a really tough schedule left, obviously. And I do think that Energy could still sneak in there, because I can see Energy taking down G2, G2 beating Sonics, Space Station take down G2, then you get a 3-way tie between Energy, Sonics, and G2. Very possible that Energy squeaks back in there for a spot, but their schedule's not easy either. They have to play G2 and then Ghost. Who knows? Maybe somehow Ghost just wins out and somehow wins like a 5-way tiebreaker and gets top 2.
We've seen crazy things happen.
We have. But it's going to be wild for NA. But on the other side, James, I want to talk about Europe. Low scoring. It is the lowest scoring season by a pretty wide margin, I think, for the European side of the RLCS. My question is why? To you, James. Why is it low scoring in your mind?
I think defenses are just better. Defenses are better in Europe. You especially look at teams like Veloce. Their defense is what keeps them in the game. Reciprocity also has a very, very good defense. Barcelona, we saw the defensive performance from them. I think for Europe, they're a lot less risky in the way that they play. And that just tends to be lower scoring because the defenses will be better. They play less risky. They're going to have to be more creative to get past those defenses. And in North America, there's always been such a premium on mechanics and solo plays, individual efforts. And I think that type of play, that just leads to higher scoring games because you'll have overcommits, you'll have mechanical mistakes when people are going for stuff perhaps that aren't the highest percentage plays. So I think it's just it's it's been that to a higher degree. Also, we've had some pretty big roster changes on some of the best teams, which will also mean that the teams don't have as much synergy at the top. We haven't really seen Speed doing much. We haven't really seen Scrub Killer doing much on Mouse. Really the only player that we've seen scoring a lot is K-Dop. Alpha had a rough start. So I think there's a lot of factors that feed into it, but that's pretty much what I think about it.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons. Like, I think you talking about the playing safe role is kind of part of it. Like, I think the defenses are good, but I also think it's probably because the defenses are so good on the counterattack that teams are playing incredibly safe, not going for those passing plays outside of, Dig and Vitality maybe, where they'll just send one up, do a solo play, and then they will hope that they get a rebound, but they usually don't follow it up so closely anymore. And I feel like it's once in a while really frustrating to watch, where it's just like, all right, here comes a solo play. Now the other team gets a solo play, and they just go back and forth, and there's no follow up. That was my problem with Mouse until we saw them on Monday, where they finally were following those up. So I think it's partially that. And the bottom four teams, frankly, in Europe are not that good. Yeah. And I think that kind of hurts too. Like, all their offenses are miserable, and I think that kind of hurts the whole ratio. But they do hold up on defense. Like, TSM is a prime example. TSM, for the most part, has a pretty solid defense, but their offense is nowhere to be found. And that actually kind of makes their defense even more impressive, that they can stay in games because they literally have no offense. So they're always on defense, but they're making the plays.
But even still, TSM had some plays this weekend that really impressed me. Even Magnus, I don't know if you saw that flip reset shot that Magnus hit. That was jaw dropping. It was pretty miraculous. So,
and that's the thing. They have the mechanics, right? And they can do it. The problem is, for TSM, they do it once per game. They're at 1 goal per game right now. It's like, you need more than that, right? And that's where the team plays come in, right?
There's players that are up in that area.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So it's a little weird to watch. But I do like Vitality Dig was relatively high scoring compared to the rest of Europe, and that's a good sign, I think, for those two teams. I think that's kind of why they're at the top two as well, because I think the offenses are going to be what wins you this season, just because everyone's offense is miserable outside of Dignitas and Vitality right now. So we'll see how that goes, because I think you can play lockdown defense, but to me, like, I feel like Dig and Vitality, they take a lot of chances, but they still are so good on defense that it's going to be very, very difficult to beat them. So we'll see how it goes going forward there. But on a lighter topic, James, we went online this weekend. And I just want to hear from you. What was the experience like, either with the room, trying to set it up, trying to clear the bookcases, or what that whole spiel was for you?
It's so much harder as a caster. Casting online than it is in person. It is so much more difficult to sound natural and to sound good because of the introduction of latency. Because when you're in person, to butt in is very easy, because I can just like touch your shoulder. I can put my hand on the desk and start talking, and you immediately know that I'm butting in. Yeah. And when you're a play-by-play caster, you're trying to leave space for your caster, even no matter what type of casting you're doing, you try to leave spaces for your other caster to come in and talk. So when you do it online, that becomes so much more difficult, and it makes it where you have to pay much more attention, and it's a lot more draining. I was dead by the end of the day, even though I didn't really cast a ton of series because of the challenges of casting online. As far as the setup, it wasn't hard. I've been streaming for a long time. Getting all the technical equipment set up was really easy. It was it was challenging. It's certainly challenging. Yeah. But I think for the most part, our team did a pretty bang up job rolling with the punches. Yeah,
like I thought it was pretty natural for what we can do. Obviously, like for the desk with like Leaf always has hand signals and stuff like that when he needs to throw or when he needs it back, and we just don't have those anymore. So we have to be a little bit more on top of things, and it's hard to have an argument with someone because you can't really talk over each other, because then because of the lag, it just gets a little bit confusing. And then also just looking at your webcam is kind of hard compared to looking at a camera when you're on set to just, I'm just going to look here the entire time while Leaf is talking and like, what do I do with my face? And the problem for me is my, a natural face, I look bored as hell. So that's my problem. So I'm trying to like look happier, but it's actually a little bit difficult.
Yeah. I mean, we've already had some memes come up from like when like Jarvie's webcam.
Oh,
you know, I don't even know how his webcam is set up, but it looks like it's right.
Wait, what, James? I'm sorry. I can't see you. Oh man.
And then you're right. Just reading, we all have our notes. We all have our materials that we're looking at. And it becomes harder when you're doing stuff online, because like when we're at the desk, you know, you can use the confidence monitors, like basically when you're in a studio and you're doing a show like the RLCS, they have all these little preview monitors that show what the stream is seeing. So when it switches, we can see that it's switched. We know we're off camera. We can go look at our notes and like, you know, scroll through, look at some points that we want to make, and the camera is switching all the time. So you have a lot of opportunities to look at your notes and get ready to make your next point. But in this environment, you really don't have that. It's it's way less camera switching, which means that you're looking into your camera more, which means you're looking at your notes less. So it's a much more challenging environment.
Yeah. My one problem was I was so mad because on Thursday, my main monitor just went out. And I was like, really, guys? This has to happen now? And then I bought a new like a DisplayPort cable and got it like really fast. And then it was then all I had to do was power cycle the monitor and then have it back on. I was like, God damn it. So I was doing all this work just to make sure I would have 3 monitors. And that is the one nice thing, is that with my home setup compared to just having that small like laptop, the Chromebook or whatever on the desk, I now have 3 monitors where I can have all different things open. Yeah. So that's really nice.
The cool thing is you can like, especially when I'm in game as a color commentator, I can get information by myself a lot faster.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that does help. Then I also had to clean up all of Giblet's toys and just threw them behind the couch.
Your house looks pretty clean.
Yeah. So everything was behind the couch. I actually put up a tweet where like, here's what's behind the couch. And it was just like, it was just a mess. Right now the mat is out, but I just fold that back over and then we're good to go. But overall, like obviously for me, it's been great where it's like, all right, I'm done with the show. As soon as I'm done, I like put Giblet to bed, stuff like that. So that's always great. Because for us, when we travel, it's incredibly draining, obviously. And obviously, this isn't the perfect solution, but obviously, with the health and safety concerns out there, it is what it is. And we, like, all of us did a great job, I felt like, on the shows. And they still felt like RLCS. Obviously, it was a little bit different. The one problem I have is that on the desk shot, the 3 faces were so zoomed in. So it's just like my giant head in the middle. And I'm like, hey guys, we don't have makeup anymore. You know, let's zoom it out. Zoom it out a little bit. Besides that, like, I think it's been really fun. And we hang out on Discord. We actually did, during our 30-minute break on Monday, we actually did some caster matches. Me and James 2v3'd Wave, Leaf, and Jorby, and won because we're gods. So, you know.
Yeah, what can you say? I mean, everyone knows who the talent is, right?
Yeah, we got to play some more 2s or something because we had some good chemistry there.
That was fun. We were going for passes and everything. We should have saved the replays and gone over.
But on that, we're going to move on, James, to our last topic of the day, the 50-50. Now, last week, you got to brag because you got a 2-game lead. But, James, I'm just going to say it now. I went 10-0, baby. The perfect day. Like, I got the 2 upsets right that I picked, and then I got all the other matches right. You had a pretty good day, too. You got one of your upsets right, and then you won some of your games. You won 6. So, technically, you only had 3 losses, but we're just going to count the loss so it's even.
I mean, last week, I intentionally went the separate ways from you on a few matches that were close to give you come back. Unfortunately, I picked the wrong ones.
But so that means I'm in the lead. We still haven't thought of our one-liners. It was a very busy week, so we'll get back to that. But if you have any more one-liners for the t-shirts, obviously we won't do it at Worlds now, but we'll do it for like a Twitter video or a YouTube video or something, or on one of these podcasts. We'll have them wear the shirt the whole time. So if you think of any good one-liners from me or James for the shirts, the bet is that the other person or the person that loses has to wear the face of the other on his shirt and then a one-liner below it for a video or for a podcast or whatever. So,
or maybe like a whole stream, maybe
let's something like that. We'll probably wear it multiple times. Why not? Like, I'll love the shirt because it'll be James's face on it. So we're going to get into the picks. Now, this is called the 50-50 because I try and choose only the close matches. So we're not picking every single game, because no one wants to talk about flight. So we're going to get into the picks now. We're going to start with NA. We got Pittsburgh Knights versus E United, James. Who are you thinking?
I'm going Knights. I'm going Knights on this one. Last week I picked generously for you to give you a foot in the door or an opportunity to come back. And unfortunately, you exploited that to perfection. And now I'm behind. I'm going hardcore for the rest of the picks.
By the way, I just want to make sure that everyone knows I did pick Cloud9 as one of my upsets over NRG. I am a genius. Thank you. James, your pick was good with Rogue over Pittsburgh Knights, and I had Flight versus E United as well. So we all did pretty good with our picks. And let's not forget that I picked Ghost over G2. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
just saying. I'm just going to brag a little bit.
It was a good week. Yeah, credit where credit's due. Yeah.
But so the thing is, James, assume we're going to run out of games to pick because we only have 2 more weeks. So the regional championship, we'll have to think of a point system of how we'll do it, because we have to do the whole
just do a bracket system and we'll do a point for every match we get right.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Hopefully, I throw so we're tied going into that, and then it'll be a lot easier.
What we could do is have it where the first rounds are weighted more, or something like that.
Yeah, or if you get the winner point bait, something, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh Knights as well. I have no faith in E United. I just think they play too much defense, and their defense is not good enough. Last season, I felt like they were very clutch. Kind of feels like the Sonics of this year, except I think the Sonics are a better team overall.
Oh, yeah.
But
even E United's year last year wasn't that good.
Yeah, they just kind of had one good weekend for the
Sonics have been having a great season.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh Knights as well. I think they bounce back. Then we got NRG versus G2, James. What do you got?
I'm going to let you pick first on this one.
Okay. All right. I am going to go NRG for this. If I pick G2 to lose to Ghost, I should probably pick them to lose to NRG. I'm going to go NRG. I think G2 likely will lose to Energy and Space Station the rest of the way. I think they will beat Sonics, but we'll talk about that next week. I think Energy, now that they have 2 losses, they're going to have to care at some point. It seems like Energy is kind of aloof and don't really care that they won Worlds, but, I don't think they want to fight in the 3 through 6 range in the regional championships. I think they want to get one of those top 2 spots because they know how dangerous that can be. I'm going Energy. I think they bounce back.
So this is one of those picks where I could pick against you to try to get a game back.
You could.
Do I believe enough in G2? And honestly, I'm with you. I think NRG is going to win this game. I think NRG is too good to not bounce back. I think this was a wake-up call. Honestly, Garrett G and Justin, Garrett G especially, played worse than he'll probably ever play again this season. Yep. I think it was just a fluke with how bad NRG was playing. I think it was just an off week. It was just an off week, and they're going to get back in and into their practice regimen and just shake off the rust. That was the worst I've ever seen NRG.
Yeah, there were some really bad turbo plays on defense as well, where that one where he had to drive back and then aerial to tip it out. Yeah, it sounded like he had no boost. He had 50-something boost.
I was watching that play too, though, but that play was a little bit awkward because the ball pinched right to Squishy. And Squishy hit it immediately.
Sure, but I think if 9 times out of 10, I think Turbo makes that play, in my opinion. And there's a couple other ones where he just dove for a save and he just smacks inside the goal because it wasn't even close and it was near post or something. It was just he was off, Garrett was off, and Justin was off. Yeah, it was rough.
RG was off.
But yeah, so we both think they'll bounce back. All right. So moving on, we'll talk about upset picks at the end here, but moving on, Team Singularity versus Endpoint. Now, this match means everything because it means whoever wins this very likely is out of the promotion tournament, and they still have an outside chance to make the regional championships. So who do you got here, James?
Endpoint all the way.
I feel
confident about this pick.
Yeah, me too. I like Endpoint a lot more compared to the early weeks. I do not like Team Singularity. I think they are double committing way too often. They're getting on top of one another. Like Endpoint, over the weekend, they shot only like 3 to 6% or something like that. But they were so close on so many passing plays. And I just think they are a team that will find those passing plays versus the bad teams because they've only really played the good teams. Their whole schedule is really good towards the end of the season. I think Endpoint wins and has a chance to make it to the regional championships.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think as a team, they're just a much stronger team. There's holes in the defense for Singularity, and like they have good mechanics. Like we've seen pretty much everyone on that team make some pretty impressive plays mechanically. But I just don't, like you said, Gibbs. I don't have faith in the team dynamic.
Sure,
and Endpoint, that was kind of their thing. The whole rival series, every single player was playing almost identical. They could all fit every role quite nicely, and we've seen them threaten even some of the better teams in the league. So Endpoint is a pretty easy pick here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they're losing to Servette, and sorry for the Discord notifications that you guys are getting, but I can't change it right now because James is on the webcam on it. So. Oh, well. So you'll hear a couple here or there, but that's on my end. Like Endpoint is losing to Servette right now on Johnny Boy's tournament. But hey, it seems like every RLCS team is losing right now to these rival series boys. So I don't think that takes it away because I still think they are one of those bottom 4 teams. And we talked about that earlier where they're kind of not as good as our top 6 for Europe, but I think Endpoint is better than Team Singularity. Moving on. We got Veloce versus Dignitas. James, you already know who I'm picking here.
Gosh, I'm not going to be able to catch up with this.
That's okay. We still have more weeks.
Okay,
right now these picks are yeah.
I think it's pretty obviously Dig. Dig is looking really, really good. Even in the series versus Vitality, it was a close series going all the way to the final game. It was kind of a strange series because Dignitas started out so well. They were dominating the game. They looked really good. And then when they lost overtime in game 3, all of their you could just tell that they were shook a little bit and they never recovered. And on top of not recovering, Vitality started playing beautiful Rocket League. Yeah. Those guys woke up and it just took them a little bit to get started, but when they got started, man, they were punishing Dignitas for every mistake they made with pinpoint accurate counterattack shooting, and Fairy Peak especially. He was great. Yeah.
That is my one concern with Dig always is like when they start losing, how is Astral going to rebound? And he looked amazing for 2 games, and I would even say 2.5 games. And then they lost game 3, and then he was nowhere to be seen. But he was playing great up until then. But I think that's part of the growing pains with Astral. The same thing happened at the World Championship where he has a massive mistake. Game 3 versus Vitality, they lose 2 more games because he's kind of out of it, and then he bounces back. But that's going to be our regional championship final. Like, I don't see it any other way. I think Dig Vitality both look great. Dig's offense looked better to me than I thought it would because while their passing plays have been great, they are still a relatively low-scoring team in terms of just goals per game. But they were actually putting in a lot of goals versus Vitality until the reverse sweep happened. So I think that's a good sign for Dignitas. Vitality's offense is clicking, though, and they just keep putting it home, and it's always like a different player. Like K-Dub's been probably the most consistent throughout the season, but Fairy Peak, he's had his moments. Alpha's had his playmaker moments, and then K-Dub's shooting has been great too. So it's going to be scary to take down Vitality, but for this match, Dig versus Veloce, they just got swept Veloce by Mouse. You kind of have to go Dig. And then leading into that, we have Vitality versus Mouse, a hot Mouse, but I can't trust them personally, James. I have to go Vitality here because I think they're the best team in Europe.
I mean, I if you ask me to pick Vitality against any team in the world right now, I'd pick Vitality. I think they look like the best Rocket League team in the world.
I would agree.
I think that first loss to Singularity was just a product of Alpha not being in the rhythm yet. And now that we've seen them get comfortable, Vitality is the pick. If there was a world championship, I would be picking Vitality to win the whole thing.
I would agree there. Mouse, I have to see it twice in a row. We haven't seen it yet. before I pick them more, that's what I'll have to wait for. Hopefully they show up against Vitality, and then maybe I'll be confident going into the final week for them. They don't have to beat Vitality; they just have to play well. Which I think, even if they play well, I think they still lose. Now we get into the upsets, James, and I'll let you choose this. Do you want to do 2 upsets or 1? Like I feel like 1 upset would be good enough because there's not as many games. And then so you pick first, and then I'll pick an upset after you.
Okay, I mean we might even have to discuss what even upset.
So
what is even
it's any game that we didn't talk about. Okay. You can just pick them for free, and then I'll pick a different one. So between North America and Europe,
pick Barcelona upsetting Monaco.
All right, never. All right, goddamn, James. All right. I mean, if it's the underdog, obviously, James. Goddamn.
Okay, all right. Well, you gotta clarify.
That's true. That's true. So there's one thing that everyone should know: Jamesbot is a very competitive person, and he will find a loophole in anything. So I have to watch out. And
my dad is an attorney as well.
There you go.
I'm familiar with loopholes.
All right. So who are you going with? I think there's 2 juicy Cloud9 matchups that I think has a potential there, but
I think probably the best upset pick statistically would probably be Cloud9 over the Sonics.
And is that going to be your pick though? Are you going with your heart on this one, or are you going with your brain?
Yeah, I'm going to say Cloud9 over the Sonics.
Damn it, that's what I wanted.
Sorry, buddy.
No, it's fine. Hey, man. Yeah, you're down, so you get that pick. I think for the Sonics, I just feel like they're going to have a bad series at some point, right? I just don't know when, but some point it'll happen. So
the only thing to worry about with that series, though, Gibbs, is that we saw Dapper really embracing the demo meta.
Yeah.
And even Sathu at times. Like the bump game and the demo game was so strong. They were timing their demos perfectly to take out the final defender net to get goals this week. They looked unstoppable against E United. Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm worried about is Cloud9's already shown that they're susceptible to that type of play style. So I don't think that it's I'm not super confident in
yeah. But that's why it's an upset, right? Like we would pick Sonics if we were choosing it, but it has a good chance to be an upset for Cloud9. Now, I could go with the same strategy that I did last week where you chose one Cloud9 upset, I chose the other. But James, there's this team, my favorite team in the world, TSM, playing Reciprocity.
You're not picking me.
No, I'm not. Come on. Like I can't even joke about that for more than 3 seconds. I'm going to go Cloud9 over Ghost then, because I do think Cloud9 is one of those teams where we know there's potential there. So, like, if I have to choose an upset, I'm going to bank on that. And it worked last week, so why not try it again?
Yeah, and I think that's probably a lower percentage chance of I think I have better odds on this one.
So honestly. I would agree. Like I think Ghost is better than Sonics, and Ghost probably when they played should have won. And because I just think Sonics is more so they're not more inconsistent. I just think at some point they will be inconsistent. I'm banking on that. It hasn't happened yet, but I would agree with you there. Like I think your pick is the one I would go with first, but I'll take the Ghost one second. So we're only different on none of them, actually. So that's not very exciting, but except for the upset picks. But that's why we do.
This wasn't a very good week for trying to get points back for me because I think a lot of the series are going to be one-sided. The only real game I think I could have gone the other way is the NRG G2 game.
Yeah.
And I could I honestly maybe it's worth doing it just for.
So I'll give you this, James. Do you want to make that your upset pick instead? And I'll give you that. Like, even though it's not really an upset, but I'll give you the G2.
No.
So I'll take Cloud9 Sonics.
No, I'll just, this is, I think this is just going to be a critical moment in the season.
Okay.
And I mean, we got more picks.
Oh yeah. There's one more week and then regionals.
Let me think about that.
And then there's promotion tournament too. So we still got all that.
You know what? I'll go ahead and pick G2. I'll change my pick to G2.
All right. Just full stop G2, or do you want that as your upset? Because I'll give you that leeway.
Just full stop G2. Energy versus G2. I'll change the prediction because you got to take risks. I think Energy is going to win that, but I think it could be close enough to where if I'm, we might as well make it a little spicy instead of having the exact same picks. We'll make it.
I think that's a good one because to me, like, is probably a coin flip. So I would agree with you there that that's not a bad pick. But, you know, hey, if you want it for an upset, I'll give it to you.
And I really don't want to wear that shirt with your face on it. That's the main thing.
But James, then you're going to get all of the ladies. That's how this works. So
I don't think that's how it works.
All right, so that's it for the show, guys, for this week. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and just go to twitch.tv/prediction esports. That is 2 E's in prediction. So prediction esports. So go check them out. Throw a follow. We're on here every Tuesday. I believe we might be changing the time to nighttime. We haven't fully discussed yet, but that's very likely on Tuesdays. So just keep a lookout on Twitter to see when the time change will happen. But go there to check out all the podcasts that they put on. Then, of course, the Spotify and the iTunes audio downloads for the podcast. Go check those out in the description below or in Twitch chat. It'll probably pop up in a second. That's pretty much all I got, James. It'll be on YouTube, too. I think I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, yeah. And if you have a Twitch Prime sub, why not throw it to Prediction? Support them. They're trying to expand into all esports, really, to have talk shows about all different games, which I think is pretty cool to have something like that going on for a podcast network. That's it. That's all I got, James. What do you have? Any final thoughts?
I would just say tune into my streams, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course, yes.
Throw me unlimited money.
Yes, and also, if we do switch to nights, we'll probably try and host James after.
Oh, yeah,
he loves to stream at night, so
I do. I certainly
we'll probably try that. I haven't streamed in like 3 weeks.
You should get back on it.
I want to, but it's hard with the kids, you know. It's very,
That's true.
You know, it's
you're a father to 2 children now.
It is tough. It is tough. But now I'm home more, so that is nice. But that's going to do it for this show. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week to talk about all the picks that James got wrong and more.
It would have to be like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I know. It would just be 1. Well, like, unless we all get them wrong.
Yeah, I guess
it would be a really fun week, too.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.